other past senior Rotarians in our club, we have an extremely good resource and we can really build on it. But we have to do it differently now. We can't do it the way we have done it in the past. Rotary has changed.
Yeah.
It's changed. The mindset of Rotarian has not changed, but Rotary itself has changed. And that is very important.
So, PDG Mohammed, tell me, what are your thoughts on the way forward?
The way forward is that we should make Rotary an organization to join, not because of the service, but because people want to learn more about how to be a leader.
Okay.
And I think I'm going by my last 5 years' experience with Rotaractors. And I know that every Rotaractor that I've come across and dealt with, I think they all are becoming Rotarians as well, not necessarily all in our club, other Rotary clubs as well. Those Rotaractors with whom we work closely are the ones who will definitely become Rotarians. And I think they will be the new peers of the future. And of course, if you look at the history of Kenya, 80% of our population in Kenya is less than 27 years old. And unless we build on that young population, I think our club will remain very extreme and eventually it will not be attractive to get the younger members as well. So I think I would work very closely with the rock tractors and other younger people. And I think even Rotary International is now saying that we should now associate ourselves with the Toastmasters. Because I remember I joined Toastmasters way back in 70s when I went to Canada. And I was a member for 10 years to learn how to speak, to learn how to evaluate. And learning is something that is required among the new leaders as well. So I think let's look for young people who want to learn something more. And we all want to learn something more. And I think this is what I think even our DG was telling us that how can you help another fellow Rotarians? This is very important. And I think, of course, I'm hoping that within 12 months' time we will be meeting once again in person. Because I personally do not find these virtual meeting really doing anything to fellowship.
Correct.
Okay, and the fellowship or as the relationship that we can develop between ourselves among ourselves is lacking in this type of technology, virtual meetings as well. But I think we still have to do a lot more. And I think make Rotary interesting is that everybody is then involved as a member doing something. If you don't do that, and that is why you have to allocate one or two Rotarians with the Rotaract with the new members. I can give you the example of 4 to 5 people in our club in the last 3 years, 4 years, who are not only excel because I took interest in them, but they are doing some excellent work right now.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, justice merit, justice is an example.
Yes.
Uh, and I think there are others as well. And I think some of others are already doing some work, but I think not necessarily with me, but because of the really taking interest in them. So we have to take interest, personal interest, particularly senior members.
Thank you very much indeed, PDG. And I can honestly tell you that in my Rotary journey, I have benefited by learning a lot from you.
I know we've spent a lot of time together. I know.
Thank you, PDG. And in a way, I'm actually very glad for the online platform. I know it's not the same as the physical meetings, but it's opened new avenues for us to join with international individuals. Have some international speakers, have guests join us from international clubs. And I think it's just a hybrid way we have to look forward to. Like yesterday, District Governor was mentioning to us that he wants to put in place a hybrid manner of meeting where we can meet physically once the COVID situation is resolved. But even
Right.
during the physical meetings, we can have some online platform where others can join in too. So it's interesting how this COVID situation has catapulted us into a completely new way of meeting.
It's very true. That's very true. Yeah. Um, But, but I think we have to consult more and more of the younger people, and I think bring about what would be interesting. Because I think unless you have something interesting, that
True.
somebody can learn something by being part of you or with you. And I think we all need learning all the time as well.
Yes. Thank you
But
very much. Thank you, PDG. And Past President Darcy, how are you?
Hey, well, and you?
I'm well, thank you.
You can hear me
I can hear you
yeah,
loud and clear.
loud and clear. Very good. Thank you for ambushing me last night.
Well, thank you for your support and for constantly, looking out for us. Thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the things, like you said, when PDG Mohammed was talking, um, like I am spending endless hours on webinars and Zoom meetings, and I think maybe we need to look at what the youth thinks. I remember at a time when people were complaining we can't come to the Lyco Regency because we are
Yes,
spending 3 hours in traffic. And now you can attend a meeting in the comfort of your home. So I think maybe going forward, maybe this may be the new normal, depending on how long this COVID situation is. So maybe this is one of the things we want to tease out, and maybe I think this has a chat possibility, right? This Zoom meeting has a chat possibility. So maybe, like PDG said, we should post that so that the panelists can look at that and give us their thoughts on that.
true.
I mean, that was my thinking. So that
but
the youth are very IT savvy. They do so much on that.
yeah. But I find that in the last 20 years, I've been going to some of the past literature before I came to this meeting today.
Yeah,
I think Rotary has really not done very well in terms of trying to get new members globally. The figure that we have right now of 1.2 million
yeah,
Rotarians, 30,000 club, has remained steady for almost 20 years.
true.
And also because the women were included in since 1985, and even in spite of that one, we have not been. And I think in North America, my experience is that when I regularly go, we find that the new clubs and there's no young people joining Rotary in North America as well. And I think we are depending purely on the young people in the Eastern world and like Africa. Africa is going to be the continent where I think it's going to make the biggest impact in the next 5 to 7 years. And I think we have to, and they will play a very important role. Of course, they will all be more technically minded, but I think we have to make sure what really is required right now. You cannot sell Rotary what we used to do at one time.
Not at all. That's what I'm saying. I said when the panelists are talking, let's post those questions there, and then we can ask them to handle it. But then maybe the president or his team are recording this, and then maybe we can do some brainstorming post today. I mean, like today, let's start this journey today.
Right?
You remember we had a think tank. I think you were part of that, PDG Mohammed, which sort of said, let's strategize. How do we get people in? I mean, you have a wealth of experience. So I think we should engage people like that and the youth, because like you said, that's tomorrow. Rotary is tomorrow. Africa's tomorrow. So I think it's a very good thought.
Yeah. I think
Good
almost
evening,
most importantly is
President
to
Ritesh.
Oh, Sally.
Hi,
Evening.
this is Kapil Chiple from Rotary Club of Madras.
Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
My pleasure. Your meeting hasn't started yet, I assume.
No, we are still waiting for some guests and members to log on.
All right.
And I'll definitely call on you during the meeting so that we can give you 3 minutes to share something.
1 minute is plenty. Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Good to see all of you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, President
Sally.
Ritesh.
Oh,
Good evening.
Good evening, Darcy. How are you?
you've come back to town. You had me worried.
Oh, I got here early enough. I was here by before 4 o'clock.
Okay. There was no speed
Yes.
check.
No, I was not speeding. It was easy.
Okay, good. Very good.
Yes. It was good.
President Ritesh,
Yes.
I'm very happy to see Stephen Menesi present amongst us as well.
That is brilliant
Hey,
news.
awesome.
Yeah, he was a member of our club.
He's a past president. PDG.
હીટર મોકલાયું તો ફિટ કર્યું એ લોકોએ હીટર મોકલાયું તું ને મીટિંગ
मनो भाई तुम्हारा फोटो क्या कैमरा ऑन करो
Sanjeev, how are you?
I'm great, President Ritesh. I'm so happy to be here. 90 years is quite a milestone.
Thank you. And today we have a number of our past presidents with us. We have PDG Mohammed Abdallah, past President Darcy, past President Anwan Lawe, past President Salim, Dr. Manu Chandaria, past President Mike, Dr. Sally Gitoho, past President Stephen Vanesi, and many more joining us.
Ritesh,
Yes.
did you have a member called Piyush Patel at any point in time?
Past President Darcy, could you help us here?
No, we didn't have a Piyush Patel, no.
No? Okay.
No. Where did you meet him?
In Nairobi. There used to be a very well-known Gujarati family in Nairobi several years ago before they moved to the US. A gentleman called Manubhai Patel and his son Piyush.
I don't think he was a member
names
of our
ring a bell.
club. But there was a Piyush Patel from Nakuru, but he was not a member
Yes.
of our club.
Nakuru, he used to be in Nakuru as well. Correct. Tall guy.
No,
Little
that-
shorter than Ritesh though.
Oh, thank you.
we have many firsts.
Uh,
Hi, President Ritesh. Hi, President Kapil.
Hi, Gopi.
Past President Gopinath, welcome. Thank you so much.
Congratulations on reaching a milestone.
And congratulations to you too. 93 years, my goodness.
Well, 92.
92.
92nd, yeah, 92 is over, yeah.
Wonderful. So, Dr.
Hello,
Sally,
Ritesh. Ritesh,
past president. Oh, Mike. I'm not supposed to say past president.
you're doing better. I'm having problem.
How do I put my photograph beside my face?
Okay, we can see
Oh,
you
yeah.
now, Manu.
Okay, all right.
I'm
Okay.
having problems with my video, Ritesh. I don't know what to do about it, but at least the sound is on.
Oh, we can hear
Yes,
you loud and
we can hear you.
clear.
Yeah.
So, past president. No. I was going to call for past president Salim actually. Salim, are you with us? There you
Yes.
are.
Well, I'm here. We're waiting for you to start the meeting.
Yes, we are just going to wait a few more minutes
Yes,
for
yes, that's
members
okay.
and guests to join. And we see Rotarian Stephen Vanesi saying happy 90th to all of us. And we should also say happy 90th to him as well.
All of us,
To
yeah.
all of us, because all the past presidents, it's your dedication and leadership which has led to where we are today.
Oh, Larry
Yeah.
is also there, I can see. Larry is there, eh?
Good morning to all of you from Friday Harbor, Washington.
Yeah. Welcome, Larry.
How are
Oh,
you?
Larry, finally I get to see you.
One time there were more past presidents in the club than the members.
More past presidents than the members. So the question is, was that because you did not want to induct anyone into the club?
It was a closed membership. There's David.
Past President David.
Yes, good evening. How are you? And Jessica?
Hi, Jessica.
hello.
Here.
Hello, Jessica and David.
Oh,
Hi, Larry. Hi, Ritesh.
How are you?
Hi.
I don't have a picture of me, but
Yeah, we're fine. You wave.
Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Hi.
How
No,
are
I
you?
was always on my phone. Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Mr.
David,
President.
all well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Is
okay.
this the best?
Thank you.
The
Oh my
lights.
God.
Let me move my computer where there's more light on my face. One moment.
Ah,
How are you?
Is that
Very
better?
well, thank you. Okay.
You
The
know,
lighting in this. You're trying to
excuse me, I'm trying to
disenfranchise
see where I
me.
can get the best light.
Elizabeth, how are you?
oh, she's grown, huh?
Oh, I had set up the other room with better light.
Sorry, the lighting is a bit funny, so you might not see me.
How we can see you? It looks
Oh.
like you guys are
See
taking
you
the
now,
call
right?
in bed.
If you come near the camera.
Huh?
I
Jessica.
come near. Is that better? Hi, everybody.
Wonderful. Hello.
Hi,
You
Manu.
can see your.
Actually, Jessica is used to the limelight.
Hi, how you doing?
I am used to the limelight. I've
David, how you doing?
gone into the sunset. The limelight now is wearing a big chain, and he's got such nice
You are the
lighting and
only
flower.
woman.
Thank
You are the only woman on the picture anyway.
I like the setup of.
You are the only lady on the photograph.
Can you increase the sound, David?
We're getting feedback.
I'm trying to do this on David's computer. I normally do it on my own phone, and it's quite nice.
Blame it on David.
Jessica, except you're always shy in showing your face. You always put your picture there.
Well, here I am. What do you say? Do I look better? Prettier
You
than
look,
before?
You look great.
you know, we want to see you.
We would have answered
Smile
that.
on you.
I'm here. Am I the only lady?
No,
Yeah, what-
Sally's there. And is there.
What?
Here, Jessica.
Am I the only lady on
No,
this forum? There is somebody else?
No, there is past President Evelyn.
Here.
Past
I'm
President
waiting.
Sudesh.
So many.
David
Jessica
there?
has so many. Anne is
Hi.
also there. Sudesh.
Ali?
Yeah.
You know, why?
I'm sure Evelyn is also there behind Mike.
Why-
Not yet, on her way.
Okay. Okay, great. Josephine, can see you.
Salome is there.
Is that's muted?
No, it's
It's unmuted?
yes.
Okay, so
Welcome.
Sally was just asking after you.
And is coming.
Sally,
Oh,
Evelyn's
yes.
arrived. Evelyn's arrived.
I can see her.
Hi,
Evelyn, how are you
Evelyn.
doing?
Nice to see you.
Everybody.
Good evening,
Wow.
Sudesh.
Good evening.
So does this mean when I'm speaking, you see me in a big screen or a small screen?
We see you on a big
Jessica, relax. We can see both of you.
No, I can't relax.
No.
Because I'm sitting here next to David.
She can't relax next
I
to me.
just came back from a meeting. I rushed to be here, you know, because I really wanted to be here. What I didn't get was, is this supposed to be only past presidents or everybody?
So everyone's here. It's just
Everybody.
that, we have a lot of past presidents in the club, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Well,
But
what do you
we can't
expect of a 90-year-old club?
I know.
You have a history. And Sudesh, what is the weather like in Alaska?
Is that what she is?
Yeah, look at the way she's dressed.
It's cold inside. You are wearing your jacket.
Wow.
Darcy, you are wearing your jacket. If I wear my
No,
sweater,
I am not. I'm not. Sally, no comment, huh?
Welcome, Justice on the Watch, and welcome, PDG
Thank you.
Patrick.
Hi, Ritesh.
How are you?
Fine. 2 minutes ago, I was in New Jersey. Now I'm in Nairobi. Habari gani?
Missouri sana.
Can I just welcome Sandeep Raichura, who I'd invited to join us, and he's with us.
Please.
Good.
Yes, welcome, Sandeep.
Hi, Sally, Mike. Happy to be here.
Sandeep.
Sudesh, really good initiative. So happy to see all the Nairobi Club past presidents.
If I may say that while Sandeep is still on the mic, may I just say the successful 2018 Rotary UN Day, he was in charge of the program. Started on time, finished on time. Thank you so much, Sandeep.
Are you trying to tell us something? Yes, you are.
That was an indication that we have to begin the meeting. So, well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Rotarians and guests. And today we are celebrating the 90th charter anniversary of the Rotary Club of Nairobi. As you will understand, a bit of the history of the club as the meeting progresses. It's quite exciting for myself to currently be in the position of leadership in this wonderful club, which is referred to as the mother club or the flagship club in East and Central Africa. So welcome all. And as members and guests are logging on, we will begin the program. I will request Ambassador Josephine Ojiambo, if you're with us, to kindly sing the national anthem.
Thank you very much, President Ritesh. Fellow past presidents, but particularly past presidents of the Rotary Club of Nairobi, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and our guests. I would like to sing with you the Kenya National Anthem, the first stanza in English, and then today, if we are able, I'd like us to sing the first stanza also in Kiswahili. All right. So I'll pitch my voice where everyone can sing. Okay. Oh God of all creation, bless our land and nation. Justice be our shield and defender. May we dwell in unity, peace and liberty. Plenty be found within our borders. Mungu nguvu yetu,
ilete baraka
kwetu, haki iwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na udugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, past President and Vice President Ambassador Josephine. And before we carry on with a prayer, can we please first can we please have past President Anvan Lawe say a prayer? And thereafter, I'll request Ambassador Josephine to pay a tribute to past President Eric Cristal, who passed away a couple of weeks before his 92nd birthday earlier this year.
Fellow Rotarians, congratulations for our 90th birthday. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, let us pray. If you want, you can close your eyes. And Father Lord, we bless you for this special day. We don't want to take it for granted. We thank you for counting us worthy to see this beautiful day in the land of the living. We appreciate you, Heavenly Father. Thank you for Rotary Club of Nairobi. Thank you for all the past presidents that have served. Thank you for the first president to the 90th president, President Ritesh. Thank you for all the sacrifices. King of Kings, we also remember the past president that have gone to be with you. They are with you. We pray that may you continue to let them rest in peace. May their soul continue to rest in peace. And we also remember today being 9/11 in America. 19 years ago, more than 3,000 people lost their lives because this is what Rotary is known for. We care for humanity. We pray that may their souls continue to rest in peace. We also pray for the future incoming presidents of the club, that you continue to give them ability and strength to lead the club. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. And now I'll request Ambassador Josephine to say a few words in memory of past President Eric Cristal.
President Ritesh, past presidents of the Rotary Club of Nairobi, and Rotarians and friends, I will read a poem. And this is a little on the spur of the moment, but I'm sure that it will reflect a number of our feelings. And the poem that I want to read is really in the spirit of hanging on in here, where here, for me, is the other side of eternity. So let me read. I'm standing upon the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails to the moving breeze and starts out for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until, at length, she hangs like a speck of white cloud, just where the sea and the sky come to mingle with each other. Then, someone at my side says, "There she goes." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in mast, hull, and spar as she was when she left my side. And she's just as able to bear her load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at the moment when someone says, "There, she's gone," there are other eyes watching her coming and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes." And that is dying. I just want to say one word in conclusion. Our dearest past President Eric Cristal is on the other shore. And surely from this shore, although we can't see him physically, on the other, there are eyes watching. And indeed, there has been a glad shout. And Eric's spirit still lives on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful poem and the wonderful thoughts, Ambassador Josephine. I will now request Rotarian Rashmi Chugh to kindly recite the four-way test. Rashmi?
I'm sorry, I was muted. Okay. The four-way rotary test of the things we think, say, or do.
It's a fixed
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Over to you, President.
Thank you very much indeed, Rotarian Rashmi. We will now have the loyal toast. So if you happen to have something to drink, kindly do raise your glass.
Let me get it.
We are here to celebrate, so I hope you do have something to drink. So please raise something to drink or put your hand on your chest. This is to the President of the Republic of Kenya. President. I'd like now to welcome all the Rotary dignitaries, and if you can allow me a moment, I'll just go through the various screens and welcome all the past presidents of Rotary Club of Nairobi. Welcome Rotarian Ari, who is our special guest today, a 102-year-old Rotarian, who is going to say a few words to us. Welcome District Governor-elect Flavio from District 4751. Welcome, we have my guest, Meera Pandit from Asian Foundation, the CEO. We have DG Flavio. We have with us past District Governor Patrick Coleman, Rotarians from Rotary Club of Madras. I'd like President Kapil from Rotary Club of Madras to kindly say a few words and introduce the members of his club.
Thank you, Ritesh. President Ritesh, distinguished members of the Rotary Club of Nairobi, our greetings and congratulations on your 90th anniversary from the members of the Rotary Club of Madras. I'm happy to be here this evening with you. I've also got joining you is past President Gopinath as well. Our clubs have some similarities. We are the third oldest club in India, and you are the third oldest club in the continent of Africa. Besides that, there are several projects that we do have in common. I've seen some of your work in your water and sanitation projects, your eye care, and children that you concentrate on. We do the same over here. Currently, with this pandemic going on, we are focusing a little more on restoration of lakes, and we are embarking on an antibody testing program focused to an industrial working group. Apart from that, we are getting ready to get our schools and our training centers open when it becomes a little safer, which I hopefully expect would be by the end of the year. Congratulations again from all of us, and your club is doing an immense amount of good work. All the very best for the future, Ritesh, and I'm sure you're going to have a wonderful year ahead. Thank you again for having us.
Thank you very much indeed, President Kapil. And once again, we are very grateful for this relationship our clubs share. We have sister club agreement amongst our clubs, which is going to be renewed this Rotary year, for which we are very excited.
We will certainly get that expedited.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And welcome to yourself and the past President Gopinath. We also have with us Rotarians, presidents from various clubs in our district. That is Anne Mutuma, president of Rotary Club of Parklands, as well as Rotary Club of Karura. We have PDG Hamid Abu. PDG Hamid, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Nice to be here.
Wonderful.
Nice to see you guys. I'm just scrolling and seeing the names, and yes, there's so many familiar faces. Congratulations, guys. Nice to be here, Fish.
Thank you so much.
Among so many old friends.
And,
thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I'll also ask Rotarian Flavio, District Governor-elect, if you would like to unmute and say a few words. And past District Governor Patrick Coleman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As a welcome, greetings from Zambia, a little further south from where you are. As I said, I was on a Zoom meeting in New Jersey just a few minutes ago and had to leave that one because celebrating 90 years as a Rotary Club, that is fantastic, especially with so many clubs these days actually shutting down within 10 years. So I congratulate you for your resilience. I congratulate you for your successes. I congratulate you for your size. Our little club in Luwansha started in 1957. So we've got a few years to go before we hit 90. But I'm very excited to be in this group. And thank you, President Ritesh, for your very gracious invitation.
Thank you very much indeed. And I've just noticed our Assistant Governor Gugi is also with us. Thank you, as always, for your incredible support. And Country Chair Saum, thank you all. I know I've not mentioned many individuals who are present, but trust me, at the end of the meeting, I'm going to thank you all personally. So welcome all. And I will now request, we have a gentleman with us, Rotarian Ari from Rotary Club of Alegre, Brazil. He's a 102-year-old gentleman who wants to address the club.
Hello, my name is Flavio. I'm a district governor-elect on the district from Ari, where he founded the club, and I will be the interpreter for the moment. So I'm calling Ari to start. He prepared a short speech, and he will read it for us. Very short. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Ari, puoi ligarsi ai microfoni, companheiro Ari. He's with his daughter, who is also helping. And he learned very soon, in April, he learned to use Zoom, and he never missed the meeting with us. Ari, pode falar. Obrigado. Lembre de fazer algumas pausas, assim eu posso traduzir.
E a saudação aos companheiros presentes a esse evento. Convidado pelo companheiro Flávio Chabu, ao qual apresento meu sincero agradecimento. Sou Ari de Oliveira. Sou Ari Fiorese de Oliveira, 102 anos de idade. Companheiro Paulo Sérgio, viúvo, 3 filhos, 4 netos e 2 bisnetos. Minha classificação no clube comércio, Rotary Club de Alegre, Espírito Santo, Brasil.
Eu vou traduzir agora, companheiro Ari. Faça uma pausa só um instantinho. Obrigado. So I will read now what fellow Rotarian Ari said, and that is my fellow Rotarians, Jose Carlos and Flavio, to whom I offer my thanks. My name is Ari Fioresi de Oliveira, 102 years old, fellow Paul Harris, a widow, 3 children, 4 grandchildren, and 2 great-granddaughters. My classification is trade. I am the founder of Rotary Club of Alegre in the state of Espírito Santo, Brazil, District 4751. Ora pode continuar, companheiro Ari. Abra o microfone, por favor.
Membro fundador do Rotary local, onde atuo há 31 anos. Participo regularmente das reuniões presenciais, hoje via Zoom. E dentro das limitações, atuo em todas as atividades propostas.
Founding member of local Rotary Club, where I have worked for 31 years. I regularly attend face-to-face meetings, but now I do it through Zoom. Within the limitations, I work in all the proposed activities from home.
Com prazer e honra, participo desta reunião festiva. E agradeço a oportunidade de aqui estar. Cumprimento e parabenizo em meu nome dos membros do Distrito 471 e do nosso presidente, Adalto aos companheiros dessa grande equipe que há quase um século edifica o clube com ações fraternas em prol dos semelhantes, sublimando barreiras, superando obstáculos, promovendo solidariedade, saúde, educação, dignidade e paz. Vivendo o lema dando de si sem pensar isso.
With pleasure and honor, I participate in this birthday meeting, and I appreciate the opportunity you gave me. Greetings and congratulations from me and on behalf of the member of my district, 4751, and our governor, Adauto Lemos, to the companions of this great team, which for almost a century has built this club with fraternal actions for the benefit of others, overcoming barriers, overcoming obstacles, promoting solidarity, health, education, dignity, and peace, living the motto, give of yourself without thinking of you.
Uma festa de tamanho, magnitude, nossa eterna homenagem ao companheiro Correto, martirando com sua afirmativa. A amizade não conhece obstáculos, sobrepõe todas as barreiras e navega em todos os oceanos. Refletindo suas palavras e através da experiência e observações, acredito e uso dizer, o mundo precisa de Rotary Club.
At an event of such magnitude, our eternal tribute to fellow Rotarian Paul Harris, sharing with his statement, friendship knows no obstacles. It overcomes all barriers and navigates in all oceans. Reflecting to his words and through the experiences and observations, I believe, and I dare to say, the world needs Rotary. Congratulations. Thanks a lot. Ari Fioresi de Oliveira, Espírito Santo, Brazil.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rotary and Ari. We are truly blessed and honored to have your presence with us. And thank you, Mr. Governor-elect Flavio, for being the official communicator and for translating for us. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are truly grateful.
Parabéns, Ari. Eles agradecem a sua participação. Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Thank you. Thank you, truly. As we now move on, I will share a brief message, just a few words, is that Rotary Club of Nairobi is very close to my heart, as it is to everyone present here today. To mark our 90th anniversary, it is befitting that we hear from those who have been at the helm of this mother club in the region in the past. I want to reiterate the immense pride I feel as I humbly learn from the leaders present here today. So please join me, everybody present here today. Join me in looking through the glass into the past and peering into the future with our past presidents. I now request our past president, Darcy Lotte, to kindly introduce the panelists.
Thank you, President Ritesh. And thank you, panelists, for sending me your details. I hope you're ready. So I think one of the things is my suggestion would be that as we move along, and if you have any queries, comments, please go to the chat at the bottom, the second from your left. And so then the panelists can look at them and then they can address them at the end of the session. I think we have about 45 minutes for that, and then there'll be an interactive session for about 15 minutes. So we will handle them at the end if there are any suggestions and comments. So as you know, Rotary started here in 1930. So the seed was planted by John Innes from Leeds, who came here and visited with Charles Udall, who was the then Lord Mayor of Nairobi. And he held a meeting with him, Tannehill, Gill, and Colonel Turner, and W. Tyson, and R.F. Meyer. I was worried about this Dactaria Watoto if he's going to be here on time. Thank you, David. So it was initially made up, the membership was made up with the prominent citizens. And if you look at our who is who, I think that hasn't changed. We are still the same. And like we were chatting before the meeting formally opened, we started in 1933 and Mombasa started 44, 45. In Uganda, the first club started in 47, Dar es Salaam in 49, and clubs in Ethiopia in 63. And some of us were members of our club when the club in Eritrea started, the first club there started. So when the club started, it was a man-only club, and it was predominantly of Caucasian stock. And as things progressed, then the non-Caucasians were allowed into the club, and later on, even women were allowed into the club. And if you look at the Constitution of Kenya, I think we have the very good gender balance. I think soon men will be a minority. And now we have like some of the interactors who later became Rotaractors, then became Rotarians, and next year we'll have one of the people who was an interactor, a Rotaractor, a Rotarian. He will be our president next year. He's our PE. Gideon, I hope he's there. So without much ado, I'm going to introduce our panelists. There is no fixed order, but except that we're starting with the former, the longest serving member of the club. So this is past president. They were called chairman those days. Mike Eldon. Mike Eldon was the president of the club, or the chairman, to be correct, at that time. He was a president in 86, 87. And he's the founder chairman of the British Business Association of Kenya, the Kenya ICT Federation, founder, director, and later vice chairman of KEPSA, and is now a member of its advisory council. He's a co-founder of the Institute of Management and the KCA University. And through National Cohesion and Integration Commission, he's currently active in supporting initiatives to promote social cohesion and peaceful 2022. He's also the founder and lead facilitator at Depot. This is the Dan Eldon Place of Tomorrow that was set up in 1994 when Dan Eldon passed away. And he writes a weekly column in Business Daily every Thursday, like a Rotary Club. And he's married to Evelyn Mungai. He's the first lady, she's the first lady member of our club. And she's also the first lady president of our club. And she's written a book called From Glass Ceilings to Open Skies. With Mike, she also set up the Rotary Chura Home for AIDS orphans. And the next younger person there is Arun Devani. Like we agreed a couple of days ago, I'm not using PPs and PDGs and all. So he's a trustee and a past director of the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. He was the chairman of Kenya Association of Manufacturers, 2004-2006. He's a past vice chair of Kenya Business Council director of Federation of Kenya Employers 205-06, and he got a head of state commendation from the president of Kenya in 2006. He was a secretary of the Asian Foundation 82 to 86, and the chair Kenya Pharmaceutical Industry, Federation of Kenya Pharmaceutical Industry 1980-82, and the chairman of Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya 75-76. He's famous for hosting the new Rotarians and sort of like drawing them into Rotary. And we have been to his house and his, well, Ila's house and his house on many occasions. And he supports our cataract project. I mean, he brings in a lot of donors on board. And he's a founder director of PAC Laboratories. I'm sure a lot of you didn't know that. This was a local pharmaceutical manufacturer. He's the chair of the First African Investment Limited from 1975 to date. He was the managing director of Sen Resins from 82 to 2013. And he's the chair since January 2014 to date. So now we bring our glamour to the seat. Sally Salome Gitoho. I'm a bit biased because she went to University of Chandigarh and speaks Punjabi to me when we meet. She's an author, a mediator, facilitator, trainer, and a consultant. Even if she looks young, she has over 30 years experience in leadership, strategy, organization, development, and human resources. She's got a doctorate in business administration, an MBA in strategic management. She's got a BA in honors in public administration. She currently represents RI at UNESCO. She was the representative to UN Habitat from 2015 to 2020. She was a chair for the 2018 Rotary UN Day. She was a country chair for our district 2014-15. She was a country trainer 2013-14 and a faculty member of the Rotary Leadership Institute. Then we come to David Githanga. David Githanga joined Rotary Club in 1994. And I remember Chani Lal and we took him for a Kuroga. And that really rubbed on him. And he's a pediatric cardiologist by training. He graduated from University of Nairobi with his first degree in medicine in '84. He's got a master's degree in public health from University of London, 2010. And last year he completed his PhD. And he did a presentation to us in aflatoxin in Makueni County. He's a past president of the Kenya Pediatric Association. He's a board member of Sanata Trust, Thomas Bernardo's Homes, and he's a member of the Kenya National Immunization Technical Advisory Group. He's a chair of the WHO Regional Commission for Elimination of Measles in Africa, and he's a board member. This happened last week. He's a board member of the Nairobi Hospital. So these are our four panelists. Welcome. I would now like to start. I would like to start maybe with Sally. She can tell us the past, being one of the earlier lady members in our club, her experiences and all, and what were her expectations. And then I would like everybody else to see how, like it was during Arun's time, first lady members were brought in. Maybe he can give us the journey there. And then Mike Eldon, Evelyn was the first lady member of our club. So let's talk about that. So let's start with Sally. Sally?
Thank you, Darcy, President Ritesh, all our guests, fellow Rotarians. Thank you. Congratulations, Rotary Club of Nairobi. It is indeed an honor to be speaking on such an occasion. So I was president in the year 2011, 2012. My RI president was Kalyan Banerjee. The theme then was Reach Within to Embrace Humanity. Our RI convention was in Bangkok, Thailand, which I attended. My DG was Eric Kimani. I took over from a quartet. Most of the presidents took over from one president, but I took over from 4 presidents. Something had happened in the club and one of the incoming president had to leave. So we quickly put a team in place, which comprised of Sudesh, Evelyn, Darcy, and Jonathan Campaign. So when I took over, I was getting a baton from 4. What I remember most about my year is that year we had a great fellowship with Rotary Club of Jinja in Uganda. They visited us and we visited our projects in Nairobi and around, had some great koroga and really had a great time. So fellowship was key for me. The next thing was courtesy of David Hasty, was we set up the swim marathon. And this is something that went on, I think, for the next 3 years. And it was an event held at the University of Nairobi swimming pool and really went well. And again, I love sports, so that was something that brought people together. I also remember that in this year we set up or started the Rainbow News, a communication tool which continues today. And this was something that I did weekly with the help of one Lucy Wanjau and a photographer, Mike. On the front of grants, those days we call them global grants, it was a year to clean up. And this is something we should look at, that we couldn't start up many projects because there are a couple of grants that had not been closed. So it was my responsibility to ensure the grants were closed and then we move forward. So in that particular year, no big project could start. What do I see? What do I see as moving forward in terms of remaining a vibrant club? I look at, besides the fellowships fixed in a restaurant, is activities, things like the Karura walks, home hospitality, or as one of us, I won't say who likes to call them home hostility, games, and to be vibrant also we need to engage various communication tools and keeping the Rotarians engaged. Something that has started today, maybe especially in David's year, David Gidanga, was the mentorship program that is keeping us engaged. What is it I see working today is we have an array of guests. That has always been a challenge. So that's working very well this year. We have great guests. We have very good communication material, which is not only vibrant in color, but the messages also that enables us to look forward to see what's coming up. Ironically, Corona and its Zoom meetings has also brought us together. We attend more meetings. We have very many people here, Brazil, India, various, Larry's in the US, Larry and Donna, nice to see you. So seeing that Zoom is also helping. So I think moving forward, a blended approach would help, Zoom and physical meetings. What has changed is, I think some of us past presidents or the older Rotarians are falling off that maybe not so involved. We have many new members and we still need to be engaged, to hold their hands so that we can stay connected and engaged. My experience in Rotary has been quite exciting. I continue to enjoy Rotary. My husband Isaac is a Rotarian, and it builds great bonds when you meet with other Rotarians, and of course when we're in projects. Now, for me, looking forward, what I see is what Patrick Obath, District Governor Patrick Obath told us yesterday. If we can do what we love, and this we see happening when we go out on walks or activities. We had bingo a couple of weeks ago. That was very fun. And then using our skills, what is it that we can use freely? You don't have to learn. So always a tough call when you're the first, but so that I don't hog the time, that's what I'll have, and I'd respond to questions later. Thank you, Darcy.
I was asking you, Sally, what is your experience of as you're the only lady panelist on our group today? What is your experience in our club of that?
Unlike other institutions, Rotary is quite friendly. You see, one of the things we do, you can see my name reads Salome Gito, but we use pet names, Sally. So there's a lot of barriers that are broken. Some of the members in our club, if you look at, we have people who are 90, but I'll call them perhaps not necessarily by first name, but I'll add a small, like Manubai, I'll say that. And so being a lady, I find it very easy. It's quite friendly, and it's not that structure that reminds me. I don't feel outnumbered. Actually, I do have fun, and it's easy. The members make it very easy to interact. So no challenges. I'm not reminded that I'm a lady. I am reminded I am a Rotarian.
Thank you. I think don't go away. We'll get you back.
Yes.
Stay close. Isaac can fend for himself for next 1 hour. I'd like now to get to Mike. Mike Eldon, are you around? Mike? Mike
Yes.
Eldon?
Yes, I am, Dusty. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for sending me that piece of paper, soft copy. So what, like you're the longest serving member on this panel. So what has changed? What has happened with COVID? And where do you see us in the next 5 years? Will the new normal be according to you? And hi, Evelyn.
I joined in 1978. So I've been a member for nearly half the life of this club, 43 years or something. I was 33 when I joined, and by far the youngest member. At that time, you talked about predominantly Caucasian,
Yes.
as indeed it was.
Yes.
And I joined the predominantly Caucasian club. It was an old white men's club.
Yes.
And we met at the New Stanley, very elitist. As I said when I spoke a few weeks ago at that joint meeting between our club and the Kampala one, we were the Rotary Club of Nairobi. Everyone felt intimidated by us. And of course, all that has gone. And it was, I think most of us within the club thought it was ridiculous at the time that we intimidated people. It certainly wasn't our intention or our perception, but that's how we were perceived. And it was an elite group. It did change my life. It integrated me into Kenya through mixing with the wonderful members and getting involved with the projects. My first job was with careers guidance. In 1980, I helped organize the first rally for the handicapped, as it was then called. 85, worked on the first eye camps. When I was president, restarted our Rotaract Club. Fascinating memories that this evening is bringing back to me. Of course, a tipping point was this bringing in of women members. And again, I've talked in the past about how it was far from smooth, either in our club or in many other clubs. We had a 2-year war during Jonathan campaign's time and in the year before. And
that was my year. The year
that
before.
was your year. So
Yes.
you had to put up with all the nonsense.
Yes, I did.
And you could talk at least as well as I could
Sure.
about the gratuitous, fatuous reasons people were coming up with as to why we should not have women. We wouldn't be able to tell dirty jokes anymore. What would my wife think if I attended committee meetings in the evening with other women? Blah, blah, blah. But I think it was just against change. And I do remember that Mervyn Vincent, a great buddy of mine, I helped him with his autobiography. He was one of the leaders of the anti-women movement. And what was happening at that time is that we started getting very active, valuable members resigning because they refused to be members of a club that didn't have women. As you remember, we had the Australian High Commissioner who did resign. Joe Wanjui, Eric Crystal threatened to resign, wanted me to go out with him. I said, no, let's do it from within. And so to Mervyn, I said, Mervyn, you may or may not be in favor of women, but can you live with many of our best members leaving us? And he switched, and he started switching others, which is what finally allowed us to have women. And I was looking forward to introducing Evelyn, not yet my wife, and I was under the view that it would be very hard for people to say, no, 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 I don't think she's suitable, no, no, no. Because in other clubs who didn't want women, they said they could just never find any suitable women who would fit into the club. So Evelyn joined our club, Sudesh did, Nikki Blundell-Brown, and so many others afterwards. And just like Sally was saying, and Evelyn and I like these kinds of statements, she doesn't feel she's a woman in Rotary, she's just a Rotarian like other Rotarians. And that's how we are today in Rotary. The other thing that's come along with the gender mix is the generation mix. And we are the old fogies. I think you're an honorary member, if only because of the color of your beard. We have, what?
I am not an honorary member. I'm still a full member.
Full member, welcome. Well, you just look young despite your white hair. And we have these incoming Rotaractors now, which is so good. Again, in the early days, it was very much the parent-child relationship between Rotarians and Rotaractors that I tried to dilute. Now that doesn't exist anymore. We're like more on par and seamless. I think that's a great development. It brings new energy, new ideas, new approaches, and keeps us older ones young. It was very interesting talking with Patrick. I had a long conversation with him last night, our district governor, after he spoke to us at lunchtime today about this 10-kilometer radius around our club and how we should be attracting corporates. And I was thinking that we should set up a task force to identify the top 10 corporates who could become corporate members of our club. And I was thinking of places like KCB, the bank, Ashok Shah's APA, Manu's Mabati Rolling Mills, and others, where Patrick was clarifying to me last night. Apparently he'd done some research after being with the board before the lunch yesterday, that corporate organizations, members, pay for the subscriptions of their individuals who then join our Rotary Club. And I think that would be a great way forward for us, where I fully imagine that what those members of those organizations would be doing is aligning our projects within our club within the corporate social responsibility and sustainability programs of their organizations. And I think that to see that happening would be a great innovative way ahead for us, where some would work better than others. Patrick did say it yesterday lunchtime that because we have such a solid foundation and no skeletons in the cupboard, we can afford to innovate and experiment. And I think this would be a good one. As we've been hearing also, Anuja has been doing a wonderful job nurturing this development of the Rotaract Club at KCA University that I had been working on for several years as chairman of the council there. And not only with the Nairobi campus, but with the Kisumu campus. So why not have KCA University as a corporate member and others like that? So we are looking to fade the boundaries between what was this elitist small group of leaders in their profession to a vibrant group of people, even in this 21st century, this hectic 24/7 era, where I was worried, very frankly, some years ago, and we were losing members, that people would just be too busy to be Rotarians. And I've been amazed and impressed and delighted that not only are we attracting and retaining members, but they are so active with projects. And I think this is a great tribute to the spirit of Rotary and as it's personified in our club.
Okay, thank you, Mike. I think I would like to, I think last year we had a session on the corporates. We revised our bylaws that allows for corporates to come in. I think at that time, I think one of the panelists, David, was the immediate past president, David Githanga. Maybe I can ask him to make a comment on that, because the bylaws have been revised and there's a provision for that. And in olden days, if you remember, Jerry Award and all, and myself, we were more like corporate members. Our companies paid for our subs, and they even, when I was a president, they would pay for that. So I will ask David to make a note of that. And maybe we should bring him on board now, and then we'll come back to you, Mike, if we have addressed that. Or otherwise, like you said, we will do like a task force and see. On intimidation, if Susan Marabana is there, is Susan there? Susan, are you there? No, she's not there. She used to feel very intimidated with me. And when we did the Masai Mara Marathon, and we went to do a route survey and all, so a lot of these things change perceptions of people, because we normally meet for an hour and then that's it. So with this COVID, how will we handle this? With the new normal, how will we handle this? So David, you want to jump in now? David,
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Past
Would you like
President.
to comment on that first before you?
Specifically, what would you want me to comment about? Intimidation, COVID?
We had discussed that at last year's board level.
Right, about corporate membership. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So I'm a little flustered. I've been trying to drive from Muddy River to get in time for this meeting. And I've been a member in the club for a little while. I joined at the age of 37. I wasn't keen on presidency until 22 years later, when we changed from chairman to president. That's why I had to wait that long to become president.
You wanted to be a president?
Yes, I wanted to be a president. I didn't want to be a chairman.
Good.
But my experiences at the club, if you will, really, I joined it as a younger person. I was said to have brought the average age of the club from roughly maybe 69 to probably 67. And when I look back, I am more towards the other side rather than the younger side. But my experiences were fantastic, I must say. And I joined when a Rotarian, past President Arun Devani, who is in the panel, was the president. That's when I was inducted in 1994. And it was very intimidating, because in that first meeting, everybody was senior in that panel. That's when Eric Christo launched the AIDS Orphans Project, and he gave a concept of his project, and he immediately started a fundraiser. And people lifted up their hands, and I'm giving 50,000, I'm giving 100,000. And a colleague of mine who had joined with me, Fred Were, we thought we were in the wrong place. because obviously even getting bus fare to go to the Stanley was a little difficult. But what it did bring up to me very quickly is how you get your place in many of whom are on this panel. I can see Omi there, I can see Arun, of course, our panel leader and so on, Praful. And you learn to become comfortable because of your own perception. You got in as much as you put in. And it was very easy to kind of say, I don't fit in and so on, which you do see today. And the daunting nature of our club was actually sorted out for me when I, for a very long time, was the chair of club admin, which basically looked at the business of the club. And I was leading the big boys and girl then, Evelyn. I still remember being told, being a chair is just about conducting the meeting. Don't put focus on yourself. You're leading a meeting and so on. Very early on, just taught how to be a chair in a meeting, and I really am appreciative. So sometimes our perceptions are because of the way we are, or our failure to learn, or our inabilities to adapt to new situation. But generally, my experience has been very good in this club. And I feel young and old at the same time. I like the dignity of the club. I like the youth. And I know Sally did talk about the whole issue of mentorship. And if I was going to comment, ways of the future is about people who are older, and older here it's not related to a particular age. You can be older even without necessarily being very old because of your outlook in life. It's really being more accommodating to people who think differently. And it's said that now our children, we have to attract them to us rather than them to come to, they don't come to us, we have to be accommodating. And probably, because I may be off tangent a little bit, I'll stop there and I'll take another question.
I wanted you to comment on the corporate membership we discussed during your year and Jessica's year.
Yeah, corporate membership came in as a result of trying to actually get members into our club. And we were declining in numbers then because of the high attrition rate. People moved countries, we lost a lot of members who died and so forth. And then there was a lot of question of how do we increase our membership. A couple of years ago when Diamond was the president of our club, we had 109 members. I mean, we were shutting out. I was on the panel of trying to gatekeep people we thought are not good enough to come to the club. We were actually shutting out people who wanted to join us, including ambassadors who were rejected in joining the club because of one, fitting the standards, whatever that was. But corporate membership came because of needing to improve numbers and so on. And there was debate, are we going to lose the personal touch when you have a corporate member? Does a corporate member just represent KCB, for instance, as an example? That's Kenya Commercial Bank. And we have a different person coming in all the time who doesn't plug in. Was that going to be related to just giving a check and not being engaged? So there was that sort of a debate, but I think that we have already passed that. And I think that even those people that have joined in subsequently as corporate members, they have gotten to be personal in that joining. I think I'll stop there and probably.
Thank you very much, David. So later on, maybe you will come back and maybe you want to talk about something about immunization. So get ready for that. And I would like to move to Arun. Nothing personal. You are the last panelist I'm calling. I mean, you have a.
Thank you. I know one of the questions.
Experience. Give us your thoughts.
Was, right. One of the target you gave me was to tell you my feeling when I was inducting Evelyn. But before I come to that one, let's go back to two important things that's important for us to consider.
Yes.
One is the history that we had to go through, or we've gone through it. You have to go through pre-independence time when there was racial discrimination in this country. You have to consider after the independence, different precedents and the way they changed the economy of the country, and how things changed after Kibaki came and so on. To a large extent, Rotary, as I have seen it, is influenced by what is happening in terms of economy as well. If you remember, a few years ago, we had one district, then it became two districts. Our district was Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Eritrea, if I'm not mistaken, Seychelles, and the French island, which was fantastically, Mauritius, which was fantastically lively and so on. And as the economy grew, the number of clubs grew. Eventually, Uganda has grown so fast and so much that they decided to have a district of their own. Things were reorganized, and now we have Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea with us. Now, tied up with this one is the racial bias, which Mike gently mentioned to it. Even when I became a chairman in 93, 94, we had a club within the club. And Mike can perhaps reflect and recall that these few old gentlemen coming from the colonial days were basically dictating directly or indirectly what we did in the club, whether it was the policy of it or then through the Rotary Trust funds. They had created their own funds, dictated what projects we can go to and what we can't. And one of the many things I pride myself is breaking the club, inner club. And it took some time in exposing what the Rotary Trust was and what it could do and what it couldn't do and how it was accountable to the club at the same time. But in my personal experience, Rotary has been a college to me. When I first joined Rotary, I remember telling someone that if I came on a microphone, my knees would shake and so on. But being with the friends, being with all the people of multiracial, multicultural people, and I call it the only institution that I know which is so multiracial, multicultural, that it developed me into possibly a leader that I became of the business community later on and so on. And during this time, we also had this change where I remember and I recall, and I repeat what Mike said, the challenge we had in taking on the ladies. That was our first big challenge. It started in a New Stanley Hotel, and my goodness, we had a number of walkouts, both from the people who were pro-women and anti-women, and so on, but we survived. And that gave me a challenge. Well, I wasn't the one, I had the pleasure of inducting Evelyn into the club. Yes, my hand was shaking. I didn't know whether to pin, how deep the pin should go, but I succeeded and survived. But let's look at the economical side of it as well. When we were going through the change, number of questions were being asked. If we take on Kenyans, one, will they be as committed to Rotary as possible as the other members? The second thing was, of course, the financial difficulties, because the previous earlier generation of Kenyans, like David Gitanga very subtly put it, they were sometimes struggling to find money for the lunch and so on. And like Mike said, being a member of a Rotary Club, forget about the donation and so on, just the fact that you had to pay for lunch and sergeant at arms itself and occasional drinks for the people on the table gave the impression that it was an expensive place. But it is an expensive place to some people, but you look at what you get out of it. So the history of our club has been that we have been evolving with the time. In same way that each of us have been evolving as as the time changes in the country and so on. One of the biggest change that's coming now is the COVID change. And I'm going to be very honest with me, because last couple of weeks it's been bothering me, it's been worrying me. My induction into Rotary and then growing into Rotary was all personal, interacting with people, meeting at the club, meeting at the fellowship, whether you had a Koroga or whether you had some projects. Being on the projects as a group itself was a phenomenal incentive. And I give you one example. I first got inducted, my president at that time, chairman at that time was President Omi Nagpal. And I became a member of, he just threw me into community service and said, right. And then we had an opportunity of visiting Korogocho. And that's when I became a Rotarian. When I saw the poverty, it was a rainy morning, mud everywhere. My feet were 6 inches in the mud, etc. But when I saw what was happening, that's when I became a good Rotarian. And I told myself, I'm going to change myself, and service is going to be part of my life. And that's the way I have carved out. I carved out my life into, yes, personal life, business life, but some charity and social work. And I think I have focused what a few things that I've done through Rotary, and it's given me great joy. So our challenge now, President Dasi, is how is COVID going to bring about the change into the culture of Rotary? Zoom doesn't give you much more idea on the depth of a person, his ability, because he can be well prepared, or he can mute himself, he can remove himself from the video. How are we going to judge people? How are we going to become that close-knit people who could, on a telephone call, rally and help each other on a project, on fundraising, and so on? So the challenge is going forward. And I think this is where past presidents have to put their thoughts seriously and see whether the first 6 months of Rotary on Zoom has been exciting. We've been having a lot of extremely interesting speakers, etc. But how long would you continue? How long would you continue without interacting, without, like, for example, one of the greatest fun I've had in my club is 6 of the prettiest women over there would always hug me and make you and other Rotarians jealous, because that's my nature. And that's how we've become friends. We've become close Rotarians, and we talk to each other and we help each other in each other's project. So that is the big challenge.
We are coming towards the end of our allocated time. What would be your suggestion going forward? How do you think we have to live in the new normal? What would you like to see different?
I have not completed my thought process, but I think somewhere down the line, taking cue from what the papers have been saying, that because we are Africans, we may have been exposed to all sorts of illnesses, diseases when we were young. Maybe we had our BCG injection, smallpox injection when we were young. I think we may have a significant immunity. And I, for one, is a minority, but I am of the opinion that somewhere down the line, we'll have to start taking a little bit of a risk and open up and meet socially. Yes, we can still stay 1.5 meters away from each other, but we cannot be cowed by the COVID and just confine ourselves and operate from a room, because that will never bring about the human closeness as I understand it.
So, in short, this is your program
now is not being able to sit in front of David Gitanga and having a cup of coffee and joking, and all of a sudden Mike Eldon or Sally or you or somebody cracking a little joke and so on. But I think somewhere we'll have to start taking a risk and have the meetings. Yes, socially we can distance ourselves, but that risk we'll have to take.
So let me switch from you to David Gitanga. I mean, the last 1 week or so, we are hovering around 5% positivity rate from COVID-19. So what is in your crystal ball, Eric? David, what do you see? Where do you see us?
Yeah, thank you very much. past President Darcy. In fact, I came late because I was in a vaccinology meeting, a ministry meeting. It was all the way out in Lolongo. And the whole topic of COVID and the whole issue of eradication of polio was really central, and how COVID has actually affected many things, health behaviors, immunization, even for us going to the hospitals and so on. I'm actually speaking from, I'm actually working every alternate week because people are afraid of coming to the hospital. And the consequences we now know, and we've learned this from Ebola, is that people suffer more from the effects of exclusion from what they should do as opposed to the disease itself. And COVID has exactly done that for us. And I agree with past President Arun when he says that we will have to learn to step out. We will die of depression or alcoholism, closet drinkers and so on, and other things, if we do not begin to normalize our lives. So what do I see in this crystal ball when I look at it? One of the people who sat next to me is Professor Omwanzala, some of whom some of the people in the audience may know him. He's a virologist. He says that we just have to learn to live with coronavirus. It's just going to become normal. And the normal history of viral illnesses is that they get milder over time. And COVID is going to be pretty much the same. But what I would, if I was to stick into the, to look at the crystal ball, that hypothetical situation, it's really hand washing. We know from our WASH projects that between 35–40% of diseases are preventable by not shaking hands, definitely, and definitely washing them with soap. Washing with water is not good enough. So what do I see when I look at that ball? If we learn to actually do certain things wearing masks, we thought this was a thing that was done by people from definitely China and so on. But we now have accepted the fact that we'll have to wear masks. Certainly, when we cough, we're now a little more conscious about spreading the diseases. So we're already altering our behaviors by doing certain things. Stay away when you're sick, wash your hands and so forth. But we'll have to begin to normalize our lives. And our lives are going to be, in fact, if I look in that crystal ball again, in another maybe 2–3 years, we'll have a lot of issues of mental illnesses if we do not have them already manifesting themselves in a certain way. Younger people, a lot more than the older people. People who are lacking jobs or for whom jobs have basically disappeared will be affected even more. So we need to, if you like, learn to live with this virus and stop taking on this disease without some sort of common sense. I did ask a question in this meeting. Why has this disease become a political disease? Why is it a political disease rather than a medical disease? Josephine, who is in the audience, will tell you there are certain principles of managing even pandemics, general principles, but it's become more of a political disease, so that is about resources, it's about allocation or misallocation, depending on where you are at, orders being given, lack of synthesis of data when we give them. We give data that doesn't make sense to anybody who's done basic epidemiology. So we're going to have to be more reasonable and more more accommodating to those around us.
Okay, so I think
thank you.
Let's move on. I think, so what are the lessons we learned from polio we could apply here?
Yeah, now polio, this meeting was actually about polio, and we know that we have declared eradication of wild polio virus. One of the things that's going to become very evident very quickly is that people still do not distinguish between wild polio virus and vaccine associated disease. The polio drops we give are live viruses that are broken down or attenuated, that's the term we use. But the polio that's killed, that's using injectable, doesn't completely cause the disease. So when you reach a point of actually removing the prevalence or the commonness of that disease in the audience, you have to move through a phase of removing the oral polio and introducing the injectable polio. So one of the immediate difficulties we are going to have right now is questions of, you've told us that we no longer have polio. Why are we giving these drops? So there's going to be vaccine hesitancy going up because people do not understand, including people who ought to know better. And when there is hesitancy of one vaccine, there's going to be in another. So the lessons learned are that we, first of all, have to talk about immunizations in general. They are safe, and I think Rotary does a very good job of that. A lot of the work will have to be done by Rotarians who are trusted in their own communities. People have issues like vaccine, probably Rotarians than the doctors who are seen as being dictated to by other higher powers, if you like. So the lessons here are that we have an even bigger role to be advocates, to try and bridge the lack of knowledge in the people who are community health volunteers, who are basically in many communities used to reach to the people and to give them the right information. So there are many lessons learned from polio, and Rotary, I think, is going to be increasingly out there and asked to participate. And I'm still the district polio chair, and I hope that we'll be having a lot more of this discussion, education, for purposes of escalation of that information to the communities in which we live.
Thank you, David. Mike, are you still there? Mike? Mike, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts? What do you think? I mean, you know, like everybody knows a fair amount about COVID-19. And my mantra is like, you know, social distancing, good hand hygiene, and wearing masks and all is a vaccine for today until we get the vaccine. Where do you see Rotary can contribute to COVID-19? How can we lobby? I mean, you share a number of organizations. How could you add sort of support to that?
Okay, well, with my involvement with the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, where I chair a committee on strategy and communications, we are looking at what is the best means of communicating these social cohesion messages that depend upon all that you've been saying and David was saying about responsible behavior. And Michael Hopkins talks a lot about this individual social responsibility. Now, we know that for people like us in the leafy suburbs, it's much easier to be individually responsible. The challenge is very much in the informal settlements, in the slums. And that is where these messages need to be passed. We've had Rotary projects distributing food. Michael Hopkins and I, along with Bob Munro, have been trying to advocate for the distribution of electronic basic income, electronically distributed basic income to give people an easier spread and more choice and dignity and so forth. And I think there is a lot that Rotary can do in partnership with organizations like NCIC and others to help promote these messages of individual responsibility in ways that people can relate to do it with empathy and compassion, not the wagging finger that unfortunately Mutai Kagwe too often had been known for. And we have with us, I think he was with us earlier on, I don't know if he's still with us, Darren Collins, who is running Eric Crystal's puppet project. Josephine is involved there, I'm involved, and wonderful videos with puppets passing these great messages. And I've linked Darren up with the Cohesion and Integration Commission. I hope that we will be seeing this communication of messages that go beyond awareness raising all the way through attitude changing to behavior change, so that people actually don't just know what to do, but still don't. And we, in all our communities around the country, I think can find ways of doing that. I'm working with Bob Munro of MISA. They have 30,000 young people in the Madara Youth Sports Association, which has used football for development to develop role models for living healthy values, for developing self-reliance. So all these sorts of people linking together with our Rotary community cause that I don't know how they're doing in the slum areas, interviews with FM local radio stations. I've been doing some of these promoting social cohesion and individual responsible measure. There are many ways that with our voice of Rotary, we can distribute powerful, effective messages to help people behave responsibly now and in the future. And by the way, not just on COVID, but one of the main areas, of course, of our work in this National Cohesion and Integration Commission is to build up towards a peaceful election in 2 years' time. And all these things mingle together.
Yeah, but I think if we don't overcome COVID, elections may have to be, there were questions in some countries about, do we have elections? Anyway, that's for another day. We need to move on. Thank you, Mike. What about Arun? What are your thoughts? Where would you like to see Rotary maybe in 10, 15 years? Let's not talk about where we have been. Where do you see us in 10, 15 years? When we are 100, Rotary at 100, where would you like us to be? What should we do different together?
Well, let's agree on one fact. Rotary in the well-developed countries, particularly United States, is shrinking. The younger generations have been staying away from it. But I am very excited about the Rotary in the second and the third world. We have seen phenomenal growth in Kenya, or call it East Africa. I have had a chance to interact with a lot of Ugandans in particular, because I used to visit that place very frequently. And the exciting thing is people have taken Rotary with a lot of passion and excitement and good work, to the extent that Rotary in Uganda, even to a large extent, plays a role in the curtailment of corruption. Because if you go to Uganda, you will find even the ministers have been a Rotarian. They all know the four-way test. I passed to be a president of Rotary Club Samovar. He was a Rotarian, a banker, and so on. And he preached Rotary in his organization and so on. And I know at Uganda Commercial Bank, he would not make anyone a manager unless he was a Rotarian. So I think if we look at our situation in Kenya, particularly where there is room for reduction in corruption and having people with the right ethics heading the institutions, maybe Rotary is the answer. Take the young people, bright people over here, and gradually make them move towards the power. Unfortunately, politics corrupts in Kenya, but maybe they can be on the borderline of politics and economy and the technical career. Because I think, besides anything, something like Rotary is essential for us to change the culture of the people. And I think for that reason, I would die a Rotarian and support Rotary to the last day.
Thank you. I think finally we come to the lady. Sally, are you around?
Yes,
Sally?
I'm here. Yes.
Okay, give me in about next 3 minutes, if you can tell me about where do you see Rotary?
About past president.
The next 3 years.
RCN.
5 years, sorry, not 3 years, 5 years. What can we do different? What do we have to do different?
First, I think I'll move, just allow me 1 minute just to move back and then I'll move forward. I think
you have 2 minutes, it's 2.5 now.
Okay, we need to go back to our value system. What do we stand for? What is Rotary? What are our values? When we become that Rotarian that started, you know what is it that attracted you to Rotary? Then now we have to put some fun, like I said, I see the clubs being more outdoor, more out there. So we'll be doing projects and then the fellowship. So Rotary is going to change from boardroom type where you have the meetings and very structured meetings to being activities that are outdoor and online. And I know a club of 90 may have some jitters about online business, but what I mean here is we'll be engaging more with community, but with our Rotaractors who we now are engaging well with, and I'm happy to see quite a number here, is we need to learn more of their style, more of how they run their meetings, because they're pretty successful in their projects and they have a lot of fun. So I see us inverting this pyramid and working, being driven a little by Rotarians. And now that being driven more by Rotaractors, and now that Rotaractors also, there is a change that has come in Rotary.
Yeah.
Instead of driving the show all the time, we have, for instance, if it's in a month, we have 2 Rotaract sessions and 2 Rotary sessions. If we bring back the fun, then it becomes more engaging, we'll do more, we shall reach more. So we're going to have a big online presence. I see in the next 5 years, these Zoom meetings are not about to end because they take us everywhere. I can attend a meeting in New York, I'll attend the next one in Madras, then I'll be in Paris. But in terms of projects, we should engage the Rotaractors and interactors more. And the fun fellowship is what will keep the club going, because we have to change. What we have been doing has to change. In the next, as we get to 100, we should not be doing things the way we have been doing. And I only see this by the young blood driving us. Rotaractors and interactors have to have a big say. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to go to this interactive part. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing it, but I think we are now open to all. Keep it very short. And I think we want to do it in the next 10 minutes. My panelists, I would like to thank you very much. Sorry, we were a bit constrained for time, but it's not every day we celebrate 90 years. Thank you. Is there anybody who wants to start? I think there is no possibility of putting up your hand on this. So it's open. So please introduce yourself. We'll take 10 people.
Past President Darcy, whilst Rotarians and guests are coming up with questions, past district governor and our very own wonderful Dr. Yusuf Kurbawala, formerly known as Yusuf K. Dawood, has his birthday coming up after 2 days. And it will be wonderful for us to wish him happy birthday as well.
Okay, we'll do that maybe after this interactive session.
Certainly.
I'll give it back to you, then you can take it from there.
Certainly.
Is there anybody with a comment? I saw Ambassador Josephine's very nice message on masks and all. Do you have a comment? And we are also working on that COVID education thing with you, Josephine.
Thank you very much, PP, Darcy, Lotte, and fellow Rotarians and friends. I want to just speak about the mask message. That's Darren and I just got together on a Saturday afternoon and thought that we need to put our heads together on how to put a message out that would be friendly. And you've heard Dr. Gidanga mention the need for messaging on hand hygiene. So we chose one on masking. And you've also heard on the same discussion, the fact that Mike Eldon has said we need to stop being, should I say, punitive with our messaging, but more persuasive. So we thought we'd sing. We also did that because we wanted to remember late past President Eric. And you've heard Mike Eldon speak about Eric, and I have read a poem in tribute. But the thing is that in many places, particularly along the coast, people are not wearing masks. The value that they put on health is secondary to their own personal, in quotes, daily welfare. The struggle to put food on the table and the struggle to pay for basic necessities. I think as Rotarians, it's important that we remember those are really important when we are addressing the nation and the communities where we serve. One of the projects that we're involved in as a club, the Rotary Club of Nairobi, and Darcy has been part of this, is actually training our health workers on infection prevention and control at community level, putting this same message in to the discussions at community level and in the houses, and also talking about infection and control with our frontline healthcare workers in the hospitals, because we know that many of them today are actually becoming unwell as they undertake their daily occupations.
Thank you.
So at both levels, that's my comment. And we are looking forward to actually getting the project off the ground. Darcy will tell you that the University College London, with the Rotary Club of London, Rotary Club in Germany, and Rotary Club in Manila have come together to join us, the Rotary Club of Nairobi, and are set to channel almost $135,000 through our club for training at university and at community. I'll stop there.
Yeah, please. I think we need to move. Anybody else who has a burning issue? I think we had some comments from past District Governor Mohammed Abdallah. Is he around? John, you have something to say? Is that John?
Oh,
John,
thank you. That's sorry, I joined the forum.
Yeah.
Sorry, I joined the forum a little late because I was in Moyale.
Okay.
Where I'd gone to.
What about intimidation and the Masai Mara Marathon?
Yes.
I remember the first time we went, a lot of Rotarians felt intimidated by my gray beard. And when we sat by the Mara River in the evening to see your mbuzi you brought.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Are you still talking or?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dasi. I think I was saying I joined the forum a little late because I was in Moyale. I'd gone to commission the NEMA office in the border post because we have had a big challenge of plastic bags coming through the north to our country. So I was there and I managed just to come, arrived slightly late. So thank you for finding the meeting still going on. So on the issue of intimidation, of course, yes, is something we must not be intimidated because it's not right.
Yeah.
What you are saying is let's take the necessary precautions on the issue of COVID. I went to the side of Ethiopia and I was shocked. Nobody, not a single person had a mask. It's like it is agreed, don't wear it. So it's only the few Kenyans, my group from NEMA, who had masks to ourselves. But we came back and it's like, yeah, our part of the country is still very cautious on the issue of wearing masks. And I think the way to go is not to be intimidated, but to find a working formula. And I think the suggestion made in this forum by several past presidents is the way to go. I miss the interaction of Rotary. I miss, the one-to-one interaction that we used to meet and, interact and gather a number of ideas from each other. And I can tell you, Rotary has really built some of us to be able to face any forum, any persons, because Rotary in itself is self-contained in terms of personnel of any cadre. So when you're able to face and talk to them, you'll be able to face anybody else, anywhere else. So on the Masai Mara Marathon, I remember that we went there with the Jonathan campaign, and I think Joseph was there. It was like a crazy idea.
Susan was
there. And I remember that.
Marabana.
Yeah, Susan Marabana. It was like a crazy idea. I remember APA's MD, Mr.
Ashok.
My friend Rotarian, Ashok, was saying, how do you seek for an insurance to just take fellows to be eaten by lions in the park? And I told him, I think I understand these animals fairly well. So let's go, nobody will be hurt. And I think Rotary spent so far 1 million, and you saw there was nobody injured, and just continued for the last 10 years. Only that we couldn't do this time because of COVID. So let us not be intimidated.
Thank you. Let's visit Damara and see John and his people there.
Yeah.
I would like to thank everybody who was part of that. All good things come to an end. I will hand it back to Ritesh, President Ritesh, and my panelists. Thank you so very much. You guys are awesome. Back to Ritesh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Past President Darcy. Thank you very much indeed to the panelists, Past President Mike Eldon, Past President Arun Devani, Dr. Gitanga, and our wonderful Past President, Dr. Salome Gitoho. I would like to thank everyone who has attended this momentous day. Today, actually, we had very many plans. Before we got struck with COVID, since last year, a group of us actually formed a committee and decided what can we do that is very special to mark the 90th anniversary of Rotary Club of Nairobi. So we started brainstorming. We spent a big deal of time actually thinking about the venue, what is going to be served to individuals. You know, we wanted to go all out. We also were planning to invite His Excellency to be our chief guest. It was literally going to be a very well-planned event. And after seeing the way the event has taken place today online, I'm equally as proud. Thank you for this wonderful panel discussion. Thank you, Past President Darcy, for moderating this very memorable event. And very useful insights which are going to help us go forward. As the past presidents have taken us through the past, we have gone through the looking glass today. We have gone through the past, looked into the future, and it's given us a lot of insights. And yes, like you have mentioned, where will we see ourselves for the 100th, for the centennial anniversary? Well, one thing I can guarantee you, we will be even stronger and working much harder. And at that point in time, we will have an event to literally make the national news, honestly. So I would like to thank all the guests who are present with us today in closing. And before I actually close, I would like to request Past President Dr. Manu Chandaria to kindly give the vote of thanks. Dr. Manu Chandaria?
Yeah, thank you, President Ritesh, and all the past presidents who spoke. I think it's an interesting discussion. The most important part that I enjoyed is a Rotarian 103-year-old. I'm also now 91, and probably not the oldest Rotarian in the club, almost on the top list. I think that the Rotary has a lot to do, and I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Rotary clubs and all the members and the guests present. That's all the three speakers, and obviously the who is this? I can't remember the name now. Oh, and Mr. Lotte. Yeah, well, allowed. I think that it's interesting to see that we have to move. And I think we have lived with, I remember that I've lived with smallpoxes and so many other things and polio. And I think we'll have to live with this also. Because the disruption that can happen, both economically and both socially, it'll be a big price. So I think the earlier the better. that we start accepting it, take good care of ourselves, as there are 3 or 4 protocols which are said. Wash your hands, put your mask on, keep a social distance, and the most important part is to start looking after our environment. I think that post-COVID, also going to be needs are going to reduce for everyone, and I think that's a good idea. So that'll keep us a little bit more knowledgeable and thoughtful about what to do now. So, President Ritis, thank you for all the 3 Rotarians who spoke, or the 4 Rotarians, I think. Yeah, and the oldest member, 103 years. I don't want to be 103 years, but at least if I can become 93, 94, I'll be lucky. And thank you so much for attending. And I think it was an interesting how we can invoke the interest of corporates. It's many a times the corporates itself and the corporate the people who are looking at the corporate affairs in a corporate might be a good idea, because we will be able to get much bigger projects than what we are doing today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Manu Chandaria. And in closing, before the attendance report, I would like, since we still have our past president, Dr. Anne Van Laue. Anne, past president Anne is with us. I would like, since she's the director of family of Rotary, if you can kindly give a message, a birthday message to past district governor, Yusuf K. Dawood. I believe he's turning 92, or is it 93?
Okay.
Let's not talk about the number.
Since we have past President Josephine, is she around? Is she still there? Are you online?
Yes,
PP Josephine?
I'm here, PP Ann.
Okay. You are going to, we're going to sing happy birthday to PDG Yusuf, and you're going to lead. I would like all the members present to sing along with you. You know your voice, you have a better voice than mine. So please, can you lead us into singing, wishing him many happy returns, please?
Okay, PP Ann, I'll do that together with you and all our Rotarians on the call.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear you. Happy birthday to you.
Now, I would like us to raise our glasses to his health. To PDG Yusuf, please kindly raise your glass. Even if you have a cup of coffee, it doesn't matter. To his health.
To his health. And we've just got confirmation from Mike Eldon that Dr. Yusuf is 92. So congratulations. Here's to his health. And I would like to once again say thank you very much to the gentleman who joined us all the way from Brazil. The gentleman who joined us all the way from Brazil at the age of 102. My goodness. Thank you so much. As a vote of thanks, I would like to thank Rotary Club of Mombasa Downtown, Rotary Club of Karatina, Rotary Club of Gong Hills, Rotary Club of Madras, Rotary Club of Embu, Rotary Club of Mombasa, RCNC, Rotary Club of Parklands, Rotary Club of Karura, Rotary Club of Gashie, Rotary Club of E-Club of Latino America, District 4751, Rotary Club of Hurlingham, Rotary Club of Stanbic Information, Rotary Club of Kikuyu, Rotary Club of Ongata Rongai, Rotary Club of Mashariki, Mutaiga, Hurlingham, Bangalore, Rajmahal Villas, Rotary Club of Tamale, Rotary Club of Westlands, and Rotary Club of Abuja, the ambassadors, and Rotary Club of Accra, Tesano, and all Rotary clubs present. If you can please raise a glass. This is to Rotary the world all over. To Rotary the world over.
Put it together. To Rotary the world over.
Rotary the world over.
To Rotary the world over. And in case I have not yet mentioned you, there's a Rotary Club of Karengata Pamboit, who's just joined us. Many Rotary clubs are present here, and I will personally send out a message of thanks to most of the clubs, to all the clubs, I guarantee that. And to all the past presidents of Rotary Club of Nairobi who are present today. We have very many active past presidents, but on the forum today, in no particular order, were past presidents Sudesh Walia, Dr. Manu Chandaria, Darcy Lote, Mike Eldon, Evelyn Mungai, Arun Devani, Dr. Salome Gitoho, Dr. David Gitanga, David Hasty, Jessica Kazina, Dr. Josephine Ojiambo, Salim Fazal, Muhammad Ali Rahmatullah, John Conchella, Dr. Anne Van Laue, Stephen Mernesi, Diamond Lalji, Elizabeth Kimkung, Omi Nagpal, Praful Lakhani, Kamal Sanghani, James Mangi, and PDG Muhammad Abdallah from Rotary Club of Nairobi. And to all members of Rotary Club of Nairobi and Rotary the world over, thank you so much. It's closed.
Rotary the world over.
And since I would like to also announce our next meeting, we meet every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. For 1 o'clock East Africa time. And our speaker on Thursday next week, that's the 17th, is one of Bollywood film industry, that's Indian film industry's leading singer, multiple award winner, and an international artist, Shilpa Rao. She's going to be our speaker next week. And the following week, we have a panel of speakers, which is going to be moderated by Ambassador Judy Wakungu, who was the past CS of Environment and currently is the Ambassador of Kenya to France, Italy, and Holy See. So kindly do join us. Thank you. Thank you all. Now we may celebrate with something to drink. Cheers. I'll request everyone to please unmute and have a conversation.
Thank you, Ritesh.
Thank you.
That was Steve. Can he tell us? Can he talk to us? And let's see him. Steve.
Yes, it's been a long time.